Closing arguments are underway in the case of a murdered York University student.
And more charges have been laid in the death of a 4-year-old Bowmanville child. Humber News starts now.
Hello, it's April 4th. Welcome to Humber News, coming to you from the Broadcast Center here at the North Campus. I'm Lily Tran. Thanks for joining us.
And I'm Sean Mohammed. Ahead on our show, we have all your news, sports, and entertainment highlights, as well as your 5-day weather forecast. But first, Lily has our top story.
The closing arguments will be heard today in the 2011 murder case of a York University student. 32-year-old Brian Dixon is on trial for first-degree murder in the death of Qian Liu, a 23-year-old student from China. Liu was on webcam with her male friend when Dixon, who was a tenant in the same building, entered her basement apartment and killed her. Dixon has pleaded not guilty to the charge. The Crown previously rejected a guilty plea from Dixon for manslaughter.
An early morning shooting in the downtown area has left 1 man dead and 1 woman injured. 25-year-old Shamar Paris died after suffering multiple gunshot wounds while driving his car near Mutual and Gould Streets around 2 a.m. this morning. The woman was a passenger in the vehicle and she suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Police say the suspects fled in an SUV driving westbound on the Gardner Expressway. Anyone with information is asked to contact police.
A 16-year-old has been charged with manslaughter in connection with the death of a 4-year-old boy in Bowmanville last summer. Terrell Vidal died from blunt force trauma last August, and police say his death was not accidental. He was being cared for by a family friend at the time of his death. Last month, Durham police charged 35-year-old Tanya Burlas with failing to provide the necessities of life. The Toronto teenager was arrested yesterday. His identity cannot be released under the Youth Protection Act.
New wiretap documents have revealed threats were made in the Project Brazen 2 probe. The documents say Sandro Lisi made threats to Dixon area phone numbers following a phone call to Mayor Rob Ford on the eve of the crack scandal. Neither Ford nor Lisi's phones were subject to a wiretap, so the content of that mystery call is unknown. Toronto police have charged Lisi with extortion over alleged attempts to retrieve the video. Detectives are continuing investigations into the possible involvement of other people.
All week long, Humber has been celebrating Earth Week, and today there was a campus cleanup. Reporter Mark McKelvey takes a look at the issue of littering.
As the snow disappears, garbage has begun to appear all over Humber's grounds. Today, Humber Sustainability and the HSF hosted the annual campus cleanup. The cleanup is more than needed, as lots of garbage has built up over the winter. Humber's Associate Director of Maintenance and Operations, Spencer Wood, says that the grounds crew cleans Humber every day, but this time of the year is the busiest.
We use our own internal staff to clean up. We do it every day of the year anyway, so it just means this time of year they've got more work to do. We tend to find that when those snowbanks melt, it doesn't all happen at once, so it sort of gradually appears over a period of time, and we go in and we clean it up. A lot of it's by hand with a rake and a shovel.
Humber Sustainability Manager Lindsay Walker says there are hot spots for where garbage builds up on campus.
Probably along the edges of parking lots and in the Arboretum. I think a little bit when people go out over there. Anywhere that there might be routes walking back and forth from the residents and near Link's Pub, those kinds of areas.
Garbage and recycling bins are placed all over campus, yet there is still garbage on the grounds year-round. Walker says there is enough bins placed around the school.
I would say there are enough out there. I think people, I don't know, I don't like being negative about it. I hope to think that people aren't necessarily ignorant, but you know what? Sometimes that is what's happening.
From the moment students step off of that bus and make the short walk over to the school, they will pass 6 garbage bins and 6 recycling bins along the way, leaving no excuse for why garbage will end up on the ground and not in the trash. Mark McKelvey, Humber News.
Thanks, Mark. March unemployment numbers are out and things are looking good for Canada. According to the Statistics Canada report, March saw Canada's unemployment rate drop to 6.9% from 7%. Here in Ontario, unemployment dipped down to 7.3% from 7.5%. This is the lowest it's been since the recession in 2008. Across the country, about 43,000 jobs were added last month.
Now, for those of you planning to head out this weekend, you might want to plan your commute accordingly. For drivers out there, construction will begin on the westbound 401 Sunday afternoon. It will be alternating lanes throughout the next 2 weeks. And the Young University Spadina subway line will be closed all weekend due to signal installations. Shuttle buses will be running from Bloor Young Station to St. Andrew Station. So if you're planning to catch a Blue Jays game, you might want to plan ahead.
When we come back, we'll have more news from across the country and around the world. John Mace will have the sports news, and we'll have your weather forecast with you, Smith.
It's a wet one today, but I do have some good news for the weekend. I'll have your 5-day weather forecast after the break.